news coming out right now. This is breaking news. This just came out like 2 or 3 hours ago. Apparently, federal officers have served subpoenas to Marxist political influencer Hasan Piker and Code Pink co-founder Susan Medea Benjamin as part of a wider investigation into whether U.S. organizations and leaders violated U.S. law and sanctions in supporting Cuba's communist regime.
I mean, when you organize and work with a communist dictatorship government to do PR for a country that is basically more of an oligarchy than America, you know, you should expect to get subpoenaed. You should expect to have this happen.
Hasan comments on a subpoena. The American government would rather try to criminalize delivering aid to a country we've starved than punish the Epstein class. Hasan, you're part of the Epstein class. I want to remind you that you went to a brothel in Germany with confirmed sex-trafficked minors in attendance, which is quite insane, as well as you went to a Diddy party. Not really the best look. By the way, Hasan, I want to remind you that you've gone on record saying old enough to count, old enough to mount. Yeah, Hasan, if you're going after the Epstein class, I guess they should go after you, although, to be honest, in some way, this is them punishing the Epstein class because you should be a part of that.
Kumusta at magandang gabi? Ako ay si Tito Goby, and tonight we're gonna talk about HasanAbi Piker, a champagne socialist and a strong supporter of jihadists. He is most likely going to jail. Happy days for all of us who believes in justice. So tonight I'm going to react to Benny Johnson's video. He titled it as Commie streamer Hasan Piker under federal investigation over illegal Cuba propaganda trip. Alright, let's get to the video. Alright, let's give him a like. And let's play.
Hey, do you remember that one time that Hasan Piker, who is America's most prominent left-wing communist streamer, who was raised by his communist parents in Turkey, somehow attended some of the most prestigious universities in all of America? Why would you choose to do that if you hate America so much? Why would you live in Los Angeles, California in a $2.7 million, 4,000 square foot house in West Hollywood?
Yeah, there you go. He's a very rich guy pretending to be a regular person.
Hollywood. That's crazy capitalistic for Hasan, who loves Marxism, communism, and there's lots of communist countries around the world. He could live in North Korea. He could live in China. He could live in Cuba, and he tried to, actually. Hasan went to Cuba and streamed from a 5-star resort in Cuba, complaining, by the way, that it's the only place with power. It just so happens to be the only place that had any electricity at all. Here's where Hasan Piker stayed. Yet the whole rest of Cuba is in total and complete blackout. Strange that. Look, here's what all of Cuba looks like, except for Hasan's hotel. So while
Absolutely
he's in
no
Cuba
power
and in
at all.
Havana throwing raves and then throwing out bread and making little Cuban children dance for him like monkeys, Hasan Piker is living large, sipping a literal latte in his 5-star resort that's owned by the Cuban government. And that's a very important sticking point here, because you're not allowed to do business with the communist Cuban government. They're under sanction. If you were found doing business with the communist government of Cuba or being funded by them or facilitating work or propaganda for them, it could be really bad news for you. This thread sort of lays it out. Hasan sipping his literally the worst time latte sip, the worst latte sip in the history of streaming is right here.
The government has very limited resources.
The government has limited resources.
And the American government makes it illegal for Americans to stay.
Take note that this happened in March, as you can see on the tag right there. March 21, 2026. And now it's May 24, 2026. And they're finally subpoenaing him to go to court. Yeah, that took a while, but hey, at least the law's being followed.
Wherever they want when they're in Cuba. The lifeline for the Cuban economy as it stands currently. The government has very limited resources, and the American government
You don't.
makes it illegal
You don't have limited
for
resources.
Americans to stay wherever they want when they're in Cuba.
I stayed in
They
an
have to
Airbnb in
stay
Cuba.
in what they've declared as 5-star hotels, right?
So hold on, let me get the right frame here. There you go. This is the perfect frame. This guy in his designer clothing with his pinky up, sipping his latte in a 5-star hotel. I stayed in an Airbnb in Cuba. And by the way, that's allowed. And that actually helps out the Cuban people. And there was a little Cuban lady that stayed in this half of a like rent-controlled home that used to be a mansion, but it was like split up into a bunch of little crummy apartments. It was like falling in. And it was a nightmare actually staying there. But I did my part to like try and help out the Cuban people when I was in Cuba doing a documentary. Hasan Piker instead broke the law. As you can see here, yes, it's illegal for U.S. residents to work with the Cuban government. U.S. maintains comprehensive economic embargo on Cuba, assets control regulations related to the Trading in Enemies Act. This prohibits most transactions involving the Cuban government and Cuban nationals unless specifically authorized by the Treasury Department.
Yeah, so many of us reactors, VTubers, and commenters, we've been pointing this out already for months. And at some point, it felt like Hasan Piker was going to actually get away with it. But thank God that he's being investigated now.
So what does this mean? Working with usually involves providing services like propaganda, employment contracts, payments, or other dealings with the Cuban government. It broadly prohibits, because of the constituents' transactions with Cuban or Cuban nationals in interest. Oh, like this includes military-linked conglomerates like the hotels that they all own, because they own everything on the island. Many of the Cuban on the Cuban restricted list.
Yeah, if like I said before on a previous video, if he really did care about the Cubans, he should have been sleeping in the dark with them, eating street food instead of being catered to. But yeah, he's definitely a champagne socialist, you know.
So hold on. Did Hasan Piker commit a crime? We speculated that he might have when this trip popped off a couple months ago. And now we know that he did. Feds.
We've known it ever since it happened. Ever since the news broke that he was actually staying in a 5-star hotel in Cuba. And we were just waiting for him to actually get arrested as soon as he got back into the U.S. But that didn't happen until this investigation.
Subpoena Hasan Piker and Medea Benjamin. This is the Code Pink lunatic who's also besties with MTG. Federal officials have served subpoenas to Marxist political influencer Hasan Piker and Code Pink co-founders Medea Benjamin as part of a wider investigation into U.S. organizations and their leaders if they violated U.S. laws and sanctions supporting Cuba's communist regime. Piker and
I love that laugh. That evil laugh.
Benjamin are among those caught in a federal inquiry as to whether the activists traveled to Cuba in March, violated U.S. sanctions law through financing, coordination, or delivery of goods to Cuba, including potential contacts with the Cuban government, personnel, entities on the island. Administrative subpoenas were sent by a pair of Treasury Department officials. Oh, man, this is rich. The administrative subpoenas, called requests for information, seek financial, logistical, or communication information involving the trips narrowly, who they all widely bragged about taking the island delegation, Nuestra America Convoy, our American Convoy, a global network of communist sympathizers and activists, Cuba's Communist Party. The investigation is part of a broader effort by Treasury officials to curb malign foreign influence and operations inside of the United States. This is amazing. Hasan's going to get deported. Hasan's going to get put in prison. I mean, there's no way that they went to Cuba. Listen, I've been to Cuba. We had to book our own trip. We stayed at an Airbnb. Like we slummed it, and then the Cuban government raided us. They raided us. They sent government agents to raid us and take our SD cards because we were filming without the permission. That happened. It's all on camera. It's all in the documentary. We made it 6 years ago. Hasan Piker, there's no way that he made this trip without, like, he was living lavishly. He had the red carpet rolled out for him everywhere. They were staging concerts. They were staging little bread dancing competitions for children. Like, this is what they were doing in the streets of Havana. They were staying at the resorts that were owned by the government.
Like I said, he should have been spending money on street foods and local vendors instead of just hanging out at that hotel and at that rave or party. But at the same time, like I said, if he really cared, he should have been like showing how bad it is in Cuba. But he didn't.
They were being shepherded and feted around all over the communist island. Of course they were working with the government. You can't do stuff like that unless you're working with government. I was standing on the streets. I just stood on the streets with my camera.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any of these like lavish luxuries that were rolled out for these communists, these dirtbag communists. They're returning home for their $1 million mansions. Dude, you want to really punish Hasan Piker? Force him to stay in Cuba.
Other than that, he's been hating on America for quite a while now. And yeah, it's time for him to get deported, if he likes being a communist, send him to Cuba. That's right. Send him to China. Send him wherever, like, send him to North Korea. I think that would be the best deportation.
Force him to live like an actual Cuban person that he claims to care about, like I did when I went to Cuba, because I went and stayed with Cuban people. Well, this is remarkable. Here we go. According to Fox News Digital investigation, Neville Singham, this is like the new George Soros of the left, pumped nearly $250 million into nonprofit groups that have pushed pro-China, pro-Cuba, anti-American narratives and street protests. And Hasan Piker is part of it.
And of course, there's so much evidence of what he did there, because he is a streamer, and he did stream in Cuba, showing the hotel where he stayed in, showing the party that he attended, provided by the Cuban government. So, man, if he's not gonna get deported, I really do hope that he gets some jail time for that.
Oh my goodness! Also of note, turns out that the memes are ugly. Soon.
What the fuck?
Oh, that's going to be a big stream. It turns out that Ilhan Omar's little rat child is like this, like in the dripping ingratitude. I mean, do these people even understand how much they set back immigrant community, like the immigrant community?
Yes.
Have you ever looked into Isra Hirsi? Isra Hirsi, the like dirty little communist child of Ilhan Omar. She's this like little rat communist who is like, just has like the lowest IQ commie takes, and is so edgy, right? And her mom is also like a dirty Marxist communist member of Congress. Shouldn't be allowed to be. You shouldn't be allowed to serve in our Congress or our judiciary without being born in America. That's like a first step. But she's like little activist running around. Such ingratitude. This child would be raised in a UN refugee camp if it wasn't for America. Mm-hmm. And they come here and spit in our faces. Do you realize like that the American public is just so done with this? What you've done, like if you actually cared about migrants or immigrants to America, you showing like that you'll come here to try and destroy our country. You're not thankful that we saved you from a refugee camp in a war zone. You come here and try and destroy us. And like
If you're coming from a different country and you're going to live in that country, or like the U.S., you're gonna come from another country, live in the U.S., you have to adapt. You know, you can't be this like these people. You have to adapt to the culture of the U.S. That's a given. But nowadays, I guess it isn't. But I don't know. These people are just like you said. They are taking advantage of the freedoms that the U.S. provides us with. They should go back to wherever they came from if they're going to hate on the U.S. this much.
attack us. It's the snake. It's the poem. It's the snake. You let me in. Why would you let me in? I'm a snake. Snakes. It turned out that she was on this trip, and then she's going to be also potentially indicted because she's the daughter of Ilhan Omar. Did Ilhan Omar help fund her trip? Oh no. Uh-oh.
Well, most likely because she is the parent, right?
See, you can see here. It's right here, see. Yes, I'm in Cuba. People here across the globe express solidarity with Cuban people. Well, if you express solidarity with them, you'd want the U.S. military to march in there and liberate them, right? So people who are standing against oppressive blockade exacerbated by the Trump administration. Yeah, it's not the Cuban government. The Cuban government's done nothing wrong. Look at this. Ugh. Ugh. Jeez. I am honored to be here, make history, and Eid Mubarak.
Yeah, they did make history being tone deaf. Oh man, I don't want to be in their shoes at all.
Oh, yeah. Look at this. Jeez. So proud of her masking. These people, I mean, they're so repulsive. They're so, I mean, they're real sickos. Like degenerate losers. Anyway, hopefully, you know, look, oh, look at this. I'm incredibly proud of everyone who made the trip to Cuba, says Ilhan Omar. Investigate Ilhan Omar and all this, obviously. Oh my, here's Ilhan Omar talking about how great it is that her little Marxist daughter was there.
Yeah, I think Ilhan Omar,
Okay.
Omar, she's also under investigation. Not just because of her daughter going to Cuba. I think there's other investigations going on about her.
This is really something else. I'm so excited. Hasan crashing out. The American government would rather try and criminalize delivering aid to a country we've starved than punish the Epstein class. Okay. Oh, God. It's all about Epstein. No, dude. They're two separate issues. You went to a nation, communist Cuba, that tried to nuke us, by the way, not too long ago. You can go read Castro's writings and go listen to his speeches. He said, I want nuclear weapons so that I can nuke America. It doesn't matter if I kill all the Cuban people. It'll be worth it to send a nuke into the heart of Manhattan. That's what he said. This is his same government. So this is what you're helping out. Given the opportunity, Hasan Piker and his ilk and those people will always choose the destruction of America. And so we should act first. Deport Hasan Piker.
Totally agree.
Right? Like,
Yes.
like charge him. Like make a statement here that you're not allowed to do this. Like
Put him in federal prison for at least, 5 to 10 years?
the American left will be shut down for this level of criminality. That you are not allowed to engage with the enemy to destroy America. Like this is, and take Ilhan Omar's daughter with her.
There you go.
Like make a stand. This is a perfect opportunity. They're guilty. Like make a stand, especially given the fact that the administration wants to take down Cuba. Sweet. Sweet. I cannot wait. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comment section if that's what you want to happen. Here is your boy Benny.
All right. So, thank you, Benny Johnson, for the video. And I completely and totally agree that these people either have to be deported or put in prison for a good time, for, like I said, 5 to 10 years. All right. Thank you for watching. That's it for me for tonight. And good night.